You know, I kind of feel bad for Jessie a little bit. As much as those Kamikaze features probably helped her career immensely, publications still feel the need to say that Eminem is a feature on this album. Like, really? Really? Is that necessary? You can't just say the album's out. You gotta mention Eminem's on it too? Okay. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Music on the Channel. I hope you all are having a wonderful day and staying safe during these quarantine times. And today, we're going to be discussing the latest album from Jessie Reyez called Before Love Came to Kill Us. Jessie is a singer-songwriter from Ontario, Canada, and released her first project in 2017 called Kiddo, which was actually the first time I became aware of her. I was just checking out projects, and I came across this one, which I found to be fairly interesting, with songs like Shutter Island and Gatekeeper that really caught my attention. But honestly, even though I was aware of her, I really didn't pay much attention to her. I kind of put her on the back burner. I had a couple songs saved to a playlist, but I didn't think much of it. That was until the following year when she appeared twice on consecutive tracks on Eminem's album Kamikaze. The name sounded vaguely familiar, but her voice sounded distinctly familiar, and sure enough, it was the same exact person. And I'm not sure if this was planned or not, but that proved to be the perfect moment for her to have those features, because just a couple months after she released her project Being Human in public in October. Generally, I've seen a lot of positive things about her music, but the one complaint people seem to always have is her voice and how it seems to be almost childlike. And I do get that. I mean, I guess it is a little annoying if she doesn't have the right instrumental in the background, then it can be definitely grating at times, but to the people that say it's always annoying and they can't withstand a project from her, it doesn't differ that much than like a Doja Cat project or a Cara Benito project or even an 070 Shake project. It's kind of similar vocals. But while Jessie did have two projects under her belt, they technically were just EPs. In 2020, she has finally come out with her official debut album. And with all that being said, is Before Love Came to Kill Us a good project? And I would say, yeah, it has its flaws for sure, but for a debut project and from somebody that has just seemed like they've been growing all throughout their career, I'd say this is a very strong output, and I have high hopes for her future, but, you know, it's still not the greatest project ever. Given that she's from Canada, which is like a mixing pot of different genres, there are a lot of sounds and styles incorporated on this project, but really, it's not a bad thing because it just shows how versatile she is as an artist. For instance, I love how hard of an instrumental she rides on Def, Who Are You, which is extremely rock-inspired, and I just love how batshit that song goes on top of her vocal performance. It's just really masterful, and then how that goes to Intruders, and it's the same kind of rock instrumental, but it's a lot more toned down, it's a lot more somber. And on top of that, she can still go completely 180 and do a hip-hop instrumental like on the track Roof, which has hi-hats and all. But that's not to say it always works out in her favor, because on the track Dope, when she's doing like a Latin club mix, it is probably one of the worst songs in the entire project, especially when she's doing that vocal performance. Ooh, oh god, it is a very grating song, and hands down the worst one on the project. But that aside, the highs in this album are when Jessie is just being true to herself, when she's giving some real emotional content, and then the instrumental or the kind of beat that she's writing at the same time matches the emotion and the power she's trying to show through that song. And that's what really sells this album. That's what really pulls this album together, especially on a song like Ankles when she has the line, "These bitches can't match up to my ankles." I really found that entertaining and like a pretty solid line. But when she's really selling it, you feel that emotional impact. And as much as I hate to say it, but one of the best tracks on this album is Figures. And I only say I hate to say it because it was on her first EP, Kiddo. So I don't like to think that, you know, the best track on this project was one that she already released. But I just hate to say it, but you can really feel the emotional weight behind this song. You can really feel her wanting to hurt this guy that hurt her so bad, but she doesn't have the heart to do it. She wants to get revenge on this person that hurt her so bad, but she's not that kind of person, and she just is stuck in this position of just melodrama, and you really feel it. But there are also times when I feel like she's overselling the emotion, like there's more emotion she thinks there than there really is. Like on the track Coffin, which is already a very samey track to begin with, but then you have the Eminem verse where he's going all falsetto in the beginning, and then screaming the word fools at the end. I don't really get it, and it's not his worst verse that ever graced this earth, but at the same time, it doesn't help the track whatsoever. The track Imported with Black was also a track that was on her previous EP, but it was done a lot better there because when you have Black featured on this song, he spends this first verse just talking about how wealthy he is, and then somehow relating that back to the Imported theme, but at that point it's kind of too late. And I'm a sucker for ballads, but Kill Us was too generic for me. Like, I know I've heard this song a million times, especially reminding me of Love on the Brain by Rihanna. And I know I'm not making this sound like a very good album, but despite the slower, non-essential points of this album, it ties together very nicely with the theme of Before Love Came to Kill Us. Because the way I see it, Jessie is describing relationships that she's had very blissful times with. Like at the very beginning stages of these relationships, it's been very lovey and blissful. But then when love comes into the picture, when some seriousness starts to happen, that's when questionability comes into play. That's when you start to realize who these people are that you're talking to, whether it be a boyfriend or just somebody that's very close in your life. Despite how rocky or unessential some of the songs in this project are, they still help paint a full picture. The album, to me, just perfectly describes heartbreak. At the beginning of the project, you have a song like Do You Love Her, where she's thinking of ways to get revenge on this dude that did her so wrong, and you're just very angry at the beginning of Heartbreak. But by the end, aka Figures, you're kind of understanding that the only way you can truly get back to that person is to just forget about them and let them go. I really like how the song I Do helps this narrative, because it's spinning the idea of saying I do during wedding vows to saying them in like the aspect of wanting to hold on to a relationship, saying I do still love you, but there's so much negative working against that I just can't be with you. I can't be with you because it is so painful. Whew, I'm sorry, this album really gets me in my feels because, like I said, there are flaws to be had with it, but overall it paints a very clear and good picture. But that being said, I can see Jessie Reyez going further in the future. I can see her like working on this element, working on the sound she has crafted, and doing so much better with it. But I love this as a debut project. I think she did a great job with it being a debut project. If you already didn't like Jessie's voice, then don't just stay clear of this album, because she's using it in a lot of different ways to match the instrumental that you're definitely not going to like it. But if you like Jessie Reyez as an artist, I think you're going to like a bulk of the songs that are here, to be honest. So to wrap this thing up, I do think this is a very good album. It's not going to be my favorite of the year by any means, but it still shows Jessie as being a growing and fleshed out artist. She's coming into her own, and she's crafting her own projects, and that's what I really respect. The fact that she did so much with this project, it's just, even if it didn't work out every time, she was still taking risks, and you gotta admire that in an up-and-coming artist. You gotta admire the fact that some new artist is willing to take risks despite how it may turn off some fans. For my top 5 songs from the project, give me honestly the first 3, Do You Love Her, Deaf and Intruders, give me Ankles, and just for the sake of not picking Figures because it was on a project prior, I'm gonna go with the song I Do. So to rank this project out of all of Jessie Reyez's discography, I would put this over Kiddo, because Kiddo was her almost finding her sound, and there were some definite good songs in there, but there was a lot more growth you could hear in the music. But I struggle to put this over Being Human in Public, because Being Human in Public, it really showed her honing in, and it was only 7 tracks, and every one of those 7 tracks I really enjoyed, whereas on this project, it was kind of hit or miss. But even though there were more hits than misses, at the end of the day, I would rather go back and listen to Being Human in Public, just to be honest with you guys. If not for the sole reason that it has the better version of Imported, because I just do not like Black over that song. Like, he did okay, but like, you could not compare to the original. I like that one so much better. But it's very close, because this is a very strong project, and she took a lot of risks, and I appreciate it, but as a cohesive project, I just like Being Human in Public a little bit more. But alright, I'm gonna stop rambling now. If you haven't heard this project yet, I suggest you do so. It's a pretty solid project, but that is all I got for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way to the end. If you want to talk about this album with me on Instagram or Twitter, I will have those links in the description below, or even in the comment section. I am free to discussion. This is only my opinion, so take it as a grain of salt, and tell me your own opinion too. If you like the album more, like it less, let me know. And thank you guys so much for watching. Again, stay safe out there. It is a crazy world, and I'll see you in the next one. Till next time. Wow, you really know your stuff.